Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for Reddit cheating stories like these. Without further ado, let's get started. My wife admitted cheating on Black Friday only after I asked the right question. For the last 2.5 years, my wife and I have been married. This is our second marriage, which is a milestone for both of us. We met and began dating around 6.5 years ago, shortly after both of our divorces. I finally arrived after 32 years. After 22 years of marriage, he proposed to her. Here are a few of extra details. My divorce was not my choice, and there was no evidence of infidelity. Her ex-adultery husband was the catalyst for her divorce. Husbands, when she was a teenager, she discovered that her mother was having an affair with her father. Her parents were able to reconcile in the end. Over the course of our relationship, we were both acutely aware of how shattered we were and worked tirelessly to help one another heal. We referred to each other as soulmates when describing ourselves. Her feelings about our relationship had been unsatisfied and dissatisfied in the weeks/months, building up to the big day. As a result of my suggestion to MC and her acceptance, we went. This resulted in some improvement in communication between us, but it did not result in any meaningful progress. After a week and a flood of indications, I confronted her and asked her directly whether she was having an affair with her coworker. She denied it. She acknowledged her feelings for him and professed her love for him. According to her, she's never really considered quitting her connection with AP before. She has misled me into believing in restoration while seeming to be suffering and befuddled herself. That is, until a few days ago, when I finally asked the right question. Is AP afraid that she could leave him? She had no option but to decline the offer. He had never been like that before. That's all there is to it. It seems like she is being defiant in any manner. All of the heavy lifting will have to be carried out by me. If I hadn't asked the right questions, I wouldn't have learned a thing about the situation. I had never clued she was capable of being so dishonest, and it has caused me to really question our whole relationship. For the most of the time, I've been drowning emotionally. I had hoped for restoration since it would provide me with something to strive towards. That ray of optimism has been extinguished. I'm not going to allow myself to get to that point. Although I was hoping for some consolation, unfortunately I ended up adding more sorrow to the mix. We've both been through difficult divorces in the past, and we both agree that we'd want to do better this time. There are no children in attendance. There are no shared assets in this company. There are no joint and many debts. I'm certain that I'll never understand or grasp why. I'm experiencing some difficulties, but I'm also a reader and a fixer. Any information or resources would be much appreciated. Particular emphasis should be placed on dividing as healthily as possible and, maybe, on forgiving. If more clarity is required, ask for it. I left out a lot of information, and talking about it could be beneficial. THX. Update 1. As a result, D-Day was the day after Thanksgiving. My 3-year-old wife is having an affair with a married coworker who is also her father's boss. I had hoped for restoration, but she seemed to be on the fence about it. She had never been like that before. As I was getting ready to depart, I pleaded with her to be aware of my feelings over her interaction with App. As a result, she asked him last night if she might accompany him on a short drive today to pick up a cat for his wife. He agreed. He had extended the invitation to her. His wife had been working hard all day. I completely botched it. I vowed to fire them both if they didn't change their ways. I threatened to inform his whole family about what I had learned. He hasn't notified them of his decision. He made violent threats against me. It wasn't that I didn't care. It was a freeing experience. They fantasized of being able to direct the story. I said that I had absolutely nothing to lose in this situation. My wife saw a flaw in each of us that she didn't care for. She hasn't spoken more than 5 words throughout the whole day. I did promise her that I would not carry out my threats, but that it was possible that someone else may do so in the future. They had previously prepared their sleeping quarters. Both of them, I feel, were given a wake-up call as a result of it. I was a saint up to the point where I was pushed too far. The lesson of the story is that they should not believe that they have complete control over the storyline. I had a 3-hour conversation with the AP wife. She expressed her gratitude. Update 2. So, D-Day was November 27th. 2.5 years married, both are in their second marriage. I remained at her house till January 12. She has decided to divorce in order to continue her romance with a married guy. So I discovered out last Saturday that she was spending the night out of town with him accidentally. I know it has nothing to do with me, but I addressed her through text. Of course, she denied it. I texted his wife since I had no doubts. I also texted my adult stepchildren since they were concerned about her whereabouts. Certainly, there will be a big explosion. She now messages me, threatening me with a restraining order if I contact her, him, or his wife again. There have been no acts of violence or threats of violence. It's all because I constantly calling her out on her nonsense. He is her supervisor to give you a bit additional information. I have not contacted the company. I've also not contacted his adult children. I'm now enraged. I've threatened to contact corporate numerous times, but haven't done so since I don't want her fired. She already despises me and blames me for provoking difficulties by disclosing what she's done. She's now threatening me. Thank you for your time. Story 2. Wife is pregnant, baby might not be mine. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. I've been drinking hard for the most of today, so you'll understand if I stop making sense. My wife is 38 years old and I am 40 years old. She was certain that we would never have children. I desired them, but I preferred her to the prospect of becoming a further. We met when I was 20 and she was 18 and married when I was 22. She hailed from a wealthy family and her parents disapproved of me. They believed she married outside of her socioeconomic class. She went to see her parents a few months ago, and her father purchased her a new automobile. Her parents had a lot of money, and I trusted her, so I didn't question it. In addition, she has always gotten presents from her father throughout the years. What makes this one any different? I was overjoyed when she informed me she was expecting a few weeks ago. I'm the happiest I've ever been. It didn't last long, however. I received a call from a buddy who said he saw her with her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, when she was visiting her parents. She hadn't mentioned seeing him to me. They've always had a strange chemistry that made me uneasy, but I consoled myself with the thought that she had chosen me. She could have picked him, but she chose me. Things changed when a buddy showed me some images. The photographs depicted a couple that were very close. They were holding hands and staring at each other in the shot. Intermade gestures of people who know one another. We're looking at home with a glance I imagined was intended for me. He kissed her with his hands in her hair. It turns out that he most likely purchased her the automobile. I approached her and asked her what had occurred, but she lied. She said she hadn't seen him. I was told that I should know the score between them, and that she needed to be courteous. Extremely courteous. I gave her the photos and told her she had to go. That was about a week ago. Then I performed the arithmetic in my brain and realized the dates were all correct. There is a strong possibility that he is the baby's father. I asked her for a DNA test today, and she erupted. The idea of putting her kid to the test. But if I don't have one, I'll never recognize this kid as mine. This whole incident has caused me to doubt my marriage. Not to mention how honest she has been throughout. How many of the presents she's gotten throughout the years have come from her father? Is she merely stretching her legs for each guy who buys her anything nice? Is it true that I married a? I forwarded the photos to her sister. Not for the noble motive of believing she should know. I want to harm my wife and brother-in-law, and this is the only way I know how. On Monday, I plan to consult with a lawyer and initiate divorce procedures. Thank you for reading, and please accept my apologies if this is a jumble. I'm not feeling well, and I've had a lot to drink. Edit. Thank you for your help. Those who do not believe me are free to do so. I understand your skepticism since this is the internet. I need her approval for a DNA test, and she has said unequivocally that she would not provide it. The next stage is for me to get divorced and lose half of my belongings. Infidelity is less important in UK courts. Any spelling and grammatical errors are the result of dyslexia plus a high blood alcohol level.